All right, if you guys want to line up right here on the center mic, I'm going to ask you the occasional question to keep this rolling smooth, but mostly it's about you guys. So we'll field the questions from there. Are you enjoying Miami? Is this your first time here?
I always enjoy Miami because I love the weather. It's almost always where you want to be. You know, I come from Chicago, Illinois, and we have 4 seasons. And those seasons are hotter than hell in the summer and colder in the winter. And then there's only one season that's like fall. That's really, really, really nice. Spring rains, summer swelters, winter freezes you. But fall is just beautiful, just falls right in place.
Yeah, Florida's pretty smooth.
Yes.
All right, what is our first question over there?
Why don't we get closer to the people?
Because it looks better on the video. The lighting is all set for this mark.
Oh, I see. Okay. You mean for that?
Hi.
Mark?
Hello. My question is,
Where are you?
She's directly in front of you.
Hi. Hi.
I'm going now, man. Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Where are you?
I'm right here, in front of you. Hi.
I'm going to kill this
All
light.
right,
I'll
thank
tell you.
you.
What. Why don't we do this? I'll bring your chair back, and I'll kill the light that you don't like.
Okay. Very good. This one. No, I don't want to sit back there.
I can't kill the light if you stand out here. I can.
Oh.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you, my darling.
I think it'll be better now from back there.
Okay.
You're making the cameraman crazy.
That's okay. They're more important than the cameraman.
I just got
in
shut down by
right?
Nichelle Nichols. Okay, we'll come out here. Okay.
Very good.
All right.
Hi, my name is Anna.
Where are you?
I'm right there.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, it's really great to meet you. My first question is, what was it like working with Issac Hayes in Truck Turner?
What's it like working with Issac Hayes in Truck Turner?
Oh, Issac is one of the kindest, nicest guys in the business. And then he does this, and then he gets on camera, you know, he scares the hell out of you. But, we got along just great. And we were able to correct some of the script to make it work better. So I really, and I was a big fan of his anyway, you know. So it was very, very nice to find out that he was a big fan of mine too, you know. And so we went to dinner and we. Who's talking? Who's got a mic? You want a mic? Well, wait a minute. I'm talking to this lady.
I will send someone over. They're actually in another room 2 walls away.
Is that another room talking?
There's another room that has a emergencies only microphone in here. I don't know why that non-emergency just got announced.
Okay, well, turn that sucker off.
All right.
I got an audience here.
Ark.
Tell me.
Would you go to Cabonauts and say, Nichelle Nichols commands, they don't use that mic again? All right.
Or just turn it
Mama
down.
has spoken.
All right, that was my question.
Hi.
Hi. That was my question about the Truck Turner movie.
All right, so next up.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Here, next question. You answered it. It was about Issac Hayes.
Yes, okay.
Hello.
Hello there.
So I assume you've seen the newer Star Trek films with the new crew and all that, right?
No.
No, you haven't. Oh, that was the whole basis of my
But
question.
I understand it's quite good. The young lady that's playing Uhura?
Well, I wanted to ask you how you felt about the new direction for the character and how she's more sort of sassy and independent, as opposed to your more subdued performance.
Is that your opinion?
Well, it's sort of a product of the times.
I like her very much. She was over to my house, and she was very, very nervous about playing the role because she was a big fan of the original show, and she was really, really nervous about it. And she thought for some reason that I would be less than happy. And I had seen the work, so somebody told me about it, and they said that she so wanted to meet me, you know, because she felt very nervous about playing that role, you know. And so I got to see the show, and then I told her mutual friend of ours to tell her to call me. I would like to meet her. And then she got nervous. And I invited her over to my house to dinner, and we had a wonderful time together. And she was really nervous about playing the role. And when we met, she just, from that point on, she totally relaxed. And the producer of the show called me and said, "What did you do?" He says, I couldn't get, she was always so nervous. He says she just practically danced on that stage back up on the set. So I was very, very happy. I told him I had invited her to my home, and then she was nervous about coming to my home, you know, meeting me. And she somehow just thought I was going to be upset about her playing the role. I got to see it, and I said, "Baby, you play the hell out of that role." Hang right in there.
Thank you very much.
Thank
next
you.
question.
He actually kind of covered my first question. So, Miss Nichols, did you ever recover from kissing Shatner? Or is there still some trauma left over?
I did, but he didn't.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Next up.
Hello.
Hello, dear.
My question was just, how do you feel about being such a big inspiration to so many people? Because ever since your role, you've inspired so many young women and so many other young people to chase and follow their dreams. And I wanted to know how you felt about that.
As well as so many women of any color, you know, because thank you. Because prior to Gene Roddenberry, it was a first, you know, for a woman starring in the show on a TV series, because they were always kind of in the back, and it changed the face of television forever, because not only was it a woman playing a strong role, but it was a woman of color, and we're all people of color, so that, yes. And all colors are to be appreciated, and all talents, to the degree that you love it, should be appreciated. If they got the role, there's a reason.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Megan. My question is, have you ever cosplayed? And if not, who would you cosplay as?
Have you ever dressed up in a costume for one of these conventions?
Oh, every 30th of, when is Halloween?
On Halloween.
Nice.
You still dress
No,
up for Halloween?
I really do. I've dressed up in it almost like everybody in the world, and then the people, kids come to the door and, you know, and knock, and then they find out it's Lieutenant Uhura's place, you know, and they get nervous and they knock, and then I come out as a witch. Or sometimes I came once, I did come out as Lieutenant Uhura, and it startled the people so much they couldn't speak, you know, they just went like, "She's here, she's here."
Wow, your makeup is good. You look just like the lady on TV.
Yeah, you look just like her. And I said, "Yes, I'm a friend of hers." And everybody thinks we're twins. And oh my goodness. And then I signed Lieutenant Uhura. And they said, "Is she going to be upset about it?" And I said, "Let me see." "No, it looks pretty good." I had fun doing it. You know.
Thank you.
Thank you. What?
Would you like a chair out here on the end?
Sure,
Why don't you
that'd be
stay put and
great.
I'll bring you the chair.
You mind if I sit down with you too?
We'd love to have you. Hello, my name is Colleen.
Back up just a little. No, 'cause the
Oh,
mic cord
I
won't go that
see.
much farther, so
Okay.
I want you
Yes.
to come to the chair.
Hi, my name is Colleen, and first of all, thank you for being here. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. What was it like, given the times, trying out for the part?
What was it like?
Trying out for the part.
I didn't.
You didn't.
No.
How did you get the role? Tell us the story of how you got the part then.
Yeah, I was cast in it. You know, there were
Wow.
other actresses up for it, and I just knew I had it. I read that script, and I went in to meet the producers, and they had made their decision, but I didn't know that. So I walked in and shook their hands, you know, and said them, and they said, "Oh, wait a minute, let me see. Your name is." I says, "Lieutenant Uhura," and I went in totally as with my concept of Lieutenant Uhura, and when I left. I felt badly for the people outside because everybody was going in and then they'd come out, you know. Thank you very much, then come out. And I was in there for about an hour. And I told them what the role was supposed to be. And they were taking notes. And I got just about everything that I wanted for her to be. And I said, "Do you want to cast anybody else with me?" And we had, the producer was there, and the director that was going to direct me that first episode, and he didn't want me before I walked in the room. He had in mind someone, you know, and he told me that later, you know. So I mean, he sat there and watched me like this, and the other producer who was casting with him we were talking back and forth, and he's just sitting there looking at me like this. And when I went out and I shook the nice producer's hand, I went over, grabbed his hand, and stood very pleasant till time. He says, "You got the role. You got the role."
Exquisite, exquisite.
I said, "I know."
Thank you very much.
But I had a wonderful time creating that character. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I want to thank you, number one, for all the years of pleasure watching Star Trek that you've given
Oh,
us.
thank you.
And-
Thank all of you. Yeah.
Your kiss with Shatner, with Kirk, was famous in its day. I was wondering, has anyone ever come up to you at one of these Comic-Cons asked to give you a kiss?
I wasn't understanding.
I'll repeat it for you. He wants to know if after giving that famous kiss, did he get you more invitations for kisses?
I had all the invitations I needed with my with my husband at the time. But that being the first interracial kiss on television, we were aware of it. And when we were doing it, I tickled him, and he was and he was very ticklish. And so I tickled him, and just somehow becoming so personal with them, he just totally relaxed, and that's why it came across so well as it did.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
but I enjoyed doing. I told him he could kiss me anytime he wanted to, but he had to say please.
Now I did hear. No, we're not going there. But I did hear a story, not so much about a kiss, but there was a story about a hug that may have happened from a fan in the White House. Tell us about your trip to the White House and what major Uhura fan had a crush on you ever since he was a boy.
I was in, I was back east about
Working for
doing
NASA.
a personal appearance at a little town just outside of Washington, D.C. And I had always wanted or wondered what it was like in the Oval Office, right? And so, but I was making this appearance that was just about a half hour from there. And I looked in the audience, and I'm sitting like we're doing here and so forth, and then I went like that. And, dang, he looks like the president. And guess what? It was the president. He's holding his hand. Star Trek was his favorite television show. And
And we are talking about President Obama.
yes, I am. And Uhura happened to be his favorite actress on television. And I walked in the room, and he was like, you know how you get if somebody really that you wanted to see and never met came in the room? Well, I came in the room, and he was like, and so I went on up to my place and got a microphone, and I'm doing like this and like that and taking the questions, and I went like, oh my God. The president was sitting there. And now I knew how people out there, when I'm talking or something, gets that way. You know?
So then that led to you being invited to the White House.
Well, he certainly did, because I had heard that Star Trek was one of his favorite shows, and I had a poster that had just come out, and I signed it to the president and sent it to the White House, thinking it may or may not get to the president. It got to the president. It was hanging in his office, personal office, in the president's.
All right, so I want all of you to imagine there's a celebrity out there you want to meet. And when you finally get a chance to meet the president or whatever, you go to their office, and they have a poster of you in their office because they're a fan of
Personally
you.
signed to the president. It was a wonderful, and we're still good friends. I mean, he was a brilliant man,
Who's the
and
next
very warm, and as far as I'm concerned, one of our better presidents of the United States of America. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Who's our next question?
All right. First of all, the other day I had my picture taken with you, and thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It's my new favorite picture.
All right.
It seems like there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world today, and I want to know what you think, like, what lessons or themes from Star Trek could we apply to today's issues?
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
I think, no, I think it's a brilliant question. I think that that almost everything that annoys us was covered by Gene Roddenberry, one way or another in those.
He always referred to it as a socio-play.
Yes,
He's
and
working out themes.
exactly, and Gene knew exactly how you felt. He played for you and to you. You know, not you're looking on it and trying to understand it and fit in. He had this remarkable ability to create who we are, and you see yourself in a, you know, like you could look in a and really see yourself in the Star Trek characters. At least I've been told that so many times by fans, and that's the making of a hit show, when you can relate to it personally yourself.
Thank you.
What's our next question?
Thank you.
And if everybody else in the line for the questions wants to take a peek at how close I hold my microphone, that's what it takes for us to be able to hear the question. Yeah. The difference between this and this is staggering when you're up here.
It is.
Okay?
Hi.
Hi there.
How's that?
Thank you.
Okay, good. I have heard a story that the Reverend Dr. King was responsible for your staying in the role of Uhura when you wanted to give it up. And I wondered if that was a true story, and if so, whether you would tell it.
It was a very true story. When I first met Dr. King, it was at an event, and I was about as nervous as I later learned he was, because he was a big Star Trek fan. And we met, and we were, like this, shaking hands, and then we started laughing. And he said, "Are you as nervous as I am?" And I said, "No, twice as nervous as you are." And the next thing he says, he had so many questions, and I said, one was kind of personal. And I said, "Well, I'll answer that on one condition." And I said, "I'll answer that honestly under one condition." And he said, If I can do it, yeah. I said, "I want to visit the White House, and I want a personal invitation from the president who resides there." I was in the White House in that position within 3 days. Because I was in town, and I said, "Well, hurry it up, because I have to leave town, and I only got 3 more days."
But the story, as it goes in folklore,
Yes.
after the second year or so of Star Trek, your contract was up for renewal, and you were thinking of leaving, and didn't you told that to Dr. King?
Oh, yeah.
And what did Dr. King say about you being
Well,
on the show?
I started out in theater, and my greatest desire, if you're in the theater, your greatest desire is Broadway. So my greatest desire was Broadway, and I thought being on television would give me that entree and so forth. And at some point, when I met, we were talking about Dr. King, and I told him how that I had gotten there was this role coming up on Broadway, and they were considering me immensely for it, and I was so excited. Well, it meant that I would have to leave Star Trek, and so I was all ready to put because we'd done 2 seasons or whatever it was, and it was coming up. I'm out of here, and because finally I'm gonna star on Broadway. And then I met Dr. King, and he was telling me how much he loved the show and that his children loved the show. And he and his wife, and he says, I have to get home on Thursday to see it with my family, or I'm in trouble. And I'm going, I can't believe it. Sound like an ordinary person. And so I said to him, "Oh, thank you so much, Dr. King. I love the show too, and I'm really going to miss my co-stars." And he said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Oh," and I gave him the good news, and he said, "You cannot." I said, "What you talking about, Dr. King?" I didn't say that. My mouth just dropped open. And he says, "Don't you understand who you are and what you're doing and what that man has created for the first time and blah, 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 blah. And this is the first interracial show. You leave that show, you're the communications officer. And blah, blah, blah. And they're ding, bam, bam, you're one of the stars of the show." I said, "I am?" Because I thought Bill Shatner was. And when Bill Shatner found out he was the star of the show, he changed completely, because nobody told us we were an ensemble, But it was so much fun. Where were we? What was your question?
So I think you got this. That's how Dr. King talked her into staying on Star Trek.
Yes. And so I was ready to leave the show and go to Broadway, where I dreamed of it since I was a child. And
I think the most remarkable thing about this is you saw Star Trek as like a temp job.
Yes.
That's just something I'm going to do for a little while. It's
And
not
here
like
I'm
40 years
meeting-
later I'll be at a convention talking about it.
And I'm sitting and talking to the President of the United States.
That's a lost child. Just let it go.
Anna?
Usually when that happens, some small child has been
Yes.
separated from their parent.
So if we
All right,
stop
what's our
with-
next question?
I have a question, but first, thank you.
Well, I didn't finish the answer.
You did.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am, thank you so much for being on Star Trek First Staying, because
Oh,
my
thank
grandparents
you.
were interracial at a very difficult time, and you actually helped so much.
Thank
you so much.
You have no idea. Thank you so much. You have no idea what that means to me. And I hear it more often than not. And every time I hear it, it touches me in such a place that I feel honored. You know, I don't feel grand. I feel honored. And
Is there a Swahili word for verklempt?
Feeling it.
I'm sure there is.
Did you just want to congratulate her? Did you have
Oh
a
no, I
question?
do have a question. I'm sorry.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm so weepy. Oh my God.
Uhura speaks it. I don't.
Not so much.
Do you have an idea, or did you ever have an idea for a Star Trek episode or a movie? Like, did you ever have something you wanted
Did
to
you ever pitch
happen?
an idea to the writers?
I have most of the leads in the show at some time or other has talked with the writer, the future writer, or the producer, or the director, the new director, and most of them want to know your ideas, how you feel about the script. And an actor is, many times loath to speak out. I'm not one of those. And so I was asked about the script, like, how do you like the script or something? I said, I love the script, and I'm just honored to be cast. But however, there's a couple places. And Gene Roddenberry was an incredible person. I was in his office, and I'm sitting across from him, and he's writing down what I'm saying. I thought he was being rude and was bored with what I was talking about. I didn't know what he's writing little things down that I was saying. And he's numbered them. And he says 9 out of 10 is a pretty good number. And so I've got 9 out of 10 things I thought should go into the show or not. He used, and that was the kind of person he was. I mean, he was really down to earth, but Star Trek meant more to him than his being I'm the writer, I'll think about it, He took good ideas, and the next thing you know, there they would be, and you were just going.
He didn't care whose good idea it was.
He didn't care.
He just wanted the good ideas.
Exactly.
All right, next up.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, my darling.
Hi, I had heard a story about your kiss with Shatner that I think it was maybe the director didn't want to do the kiss, wanted to make it a hug, and then Shatner and something about he made some goofy faces, so the take. I was just wondering if...
Was there hesitation to do the kiss?
There was hesitation all over the studio. And it went all the way to New York. The top man on.
You guys may not be aware of this. That was the first interracial kiss on television ever.
And when the writer wrote it, it was his first script that was accepted.
He didn't know that was a no-no.
He didn't know that was a no-no. And so they bought it because it was a good script, and they're trying to figure out how to write out the kiss, the real kiss. Couldn't they just hug? Or, well, what about he could turn her around, you won't see the kiss? Or it was so, Hollywood was so stupid for a long time.
Now,
Thank you.
But here's the part I've never heard. After that,
Huh?
was there actually any backlash?
Oh, yeah, there was a tremendous backlash. Finally, you guys got your act together. It's real people out here, and we're all everything that came in, critique on that was positive.
All positive.
All positive.
Here they were worried they were going to get in trouble.
A group of people, there were clubs, that pulled together called Star Trek clubs of people that, just got together and did. When they, just the rumor that there was the first interracial kiss ever on television was going to be on Star Trek. It was just a rumor.
And there's no Twitter or internet. This rumor actually has to spread person to person.
Yeah. And that rumor spread, and people gave their numbers out to each other. They got together, and there was about 500 people went to Paramount Studios and paraded with signs.
Positive or negative?
Negative against the show. For the rumor was that they were going to not put it on television. They weren't going to do that. And this is
Don't take away our
let
kiss.
the kiss be in. They were all, and for a whole day on that Saturday, and then they came back on Sunday, and it was just a crowd and a crowd and a crowd, and got bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, the head of Paramount flew from New York and looked at that and said, and he came out and got on a microphone and the whole thing and said, "The kiss is in." And the place went insane. Everybody was clapping and stomping, and it was the biggest segment of Star Trek that had gone on before and after. But thank you for your question.
Hi, my name is Jonathan, and my friend wanted to know how has Star Trek affected your life?
In a major way, because when Star Trek came along, it was just one more, role that may happen, and and finally, I started out, I think I told you, in the theater. Well, the biggest thing for anybody seriously in the theater is the New York stage. And I was just being offered a big role in New York, but it meant I would have to bypass Star Trek or leave the show. And it was in its first season. And I was ready to go, because theater was my big thing. It was the biggest thing that happened, starring on Broadway in a magnificent play and a singing and acting and, oh my God. And so, and they found out about it, and the studio said, "You can't do that. You can't take off and go and do something else. You've got to do this show, the movie. I mean, the TV series. You can't do that." And I was like, what you talking about? I can't do that. I'm going to, and it was suddenly a big thing. And the head of Paramount Studios, of all of the network, that network, heard about it and flew out to California. And he was a big, big fan of guess who? Lieutenant Uhura. So he came out and he said, is there any way we can compromise? And I'm, standing there going, you talking to me? and
So what was the big incentive? What did they offer you to stay? Is it time off to go do something? Or big wad of cash? Or?
No, but
never cash.
just
what can
to
we do
make
to make you stay,
Lieutenant
but it's never
Uhura,
pay anymore?
to make Lieutenant Uhura stronger in the show. Because he said, you're one of the stars of the show. And I said, I am. Put that up on the thing. When it says sorry. And I was ready to leave, but I was also really relieved to stay. Because I loved it.
So they made it the meteor role you were looking for.
That's correct.
In the theater.
That's correct.
Making it a better part. It was more fun to remain.
Absolutely.
All right, what's the next
Thank
question?
you.
Thank you.
Yes, hi, Ms. Nichols. My name is Maria.
You got to be a lot louder.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, my name is Maria, Ms. Nichols, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a question. I've noticed that you were singing in some of the episodes, and you have a lovely voice. And I was just wondering what. Oh, you're welcome. What your musical background is.
I started out in the theater as an actor, singer, dancer. I was a ballerina, and I had this. I was very young at this time, and I had this big voice, and I used to put on little stints growing up for my mother and father, and they'd gather people and said, and I'd play all these roles, So I would, I'd do something like, there's no business like show business, like that, and then I would go from there to go, and I found it, and they said, how can you do that? And I said, I don't know, I just think about it, and the voice goes there. Well, I found I had 5 octave range. And because voice...
Wait, let me put this in perspective for you guys. Great opera singers hope they have 4 octaves.
Yeah.
And you have 5?
I have over 5 octave range.
5.5 octaves.
And but I thought everybody, all singers were able to do that. And so the reason the only way I actually found out was I used to put these little shows on for my mother and father, and I'd sit the family down and I'd play all these roles. Well, I'd play the guy, and he'd come over and talk to her and so on, talk to her, and then I would play the little kid. Mommy, can I have a lollipop? Something like that. And then, no, you didn't eat your dinner. And your aunt is coming, and you were supposed to learn the song, and she's an opera singer, and she's coming here, and you're not ready. Oh, but yes, I am. And, well, let me hear it.
Wait, you were a little kid playing make-believe?
Yes.
And you still made the kid in the story wait for dessert?
Yes.
You couldn't cut yourself a break and go, have all the cookies you want.
Well, I finally did that because I made the little kid who was, nobody was paying any attention to, was this little kid that only sang for herself because she was ashamed of having all of these voices, because most singers just have one voice, you know, in a range of here, there, or whatever. And so I played this little girl, and then she had to do all of these things because her father I want to see this thing, and that you're supposed to be doing. But Daddy, I didn't do anything. Do it now, you know. And so she had to do all of these songs.
Now, but then in the later years, as an adult, and with the fame of Uhura and all, was there ever a Nichelle Nichols album?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because this is what we want to hunt down now.
Somewhere there is.
What was the title of that album? Can you recall?
It was very hard for me to ever get recorded, and getting that because I have all these voices. They don't want that. They want somebody that sings like
one
this.
style.
Yeah, one style.
Every Britney Spears song sounds the same.
And I'm all over the place. You know? and I do little children.
You got to figure if Bill Shatner can record an album. You know, you should
I'm
be.
sorry.
I mean, Nimoy released a Bilbo Baggins song. Okay, you with your talent. At the very least, I would assume there's a Broadway show out there that you're at least, you know, one of the cast members on.
Yeah, I think there's. It's all the way from, you know.
Doing Ethel Merman is like they're all black, Annie, get your gun. You know?
Yeah, and I do the things down, you know, here, like that, and then this is all in the album, and then summertime and the living is easy.
Did you ever do Porgy and Bess?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my, that's a cast album I got to track down now.
I don't know that it's on the cast album. I replaced somebody, the original gal.
They tend on Broadway to record the album with the first cast, and then if a year or two later they're bringing in new stars.
Yeah, and the reason, and it had a purpose. She was very, very good, but she would take off. You know, and apparently her understudy was not as good as she. So they're in New York and on Broadway, and she's taking off, and their play suffered. So the director and the writer, it's director-writer, came by chance, was in Los Angeles, and I was singing at a supper club. And I sang in all my voices. And they sat through my show. And I really like to do do blues, low down dirty blues. And then I like to do opera. So it would be in my act, and people loved it because they could come and hear all of those who did love it were always in the audience. And
I would love to hear you do Carmen Jones.
Oh man,
that's just written for you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. You're a remarkable talent. Thank you.
All right, what's our next one?
Yes.
Hello. So this one, coming back to Star Trek, when you were filming Star Trek 6,
The Undiscovered Country, right?
Yes. Did you all knew at the time then that was going to be the last film that you were doing, right? And what was kind of the atmosphere on the set then, knowing that there was a...
Did you know Star Trek 6 was your last Star Trek, or did they just make one at a time and each one's a new surprise?
I don't know if I knew or didn't know, but my experience in the theater, because I grew up in the theater, is that something's always happening, and there's nothing that can't be replaced in the theater. There's an actor somewhere who can replace the best there is, and that's how you get your opportunity in the theater.
So you approached each movie as, well, this is...
Absolutely.
Every one of them was the last one?
Absolutely. Every song is the last one. So you pour your heart. If you do a stand-up...
and Star Trek has also been resurrected so many times
absolutely.
now.
You're absolutely
You keep getting told you're unemployed, and then 3 years later you're not. You know. So for all you know, 6 is not her last Star Trek movie.
That's exactly. Yeah. And 2 might be your last one, and everybody else goes on to 6. You know. So
I'm blanking right now on the actress that's currently playing Uhura. Right. Okay.
Oh, I think
you know sooner or later she's going to need a mom in the story, right?
I don't know about that. But she was so wonderful. There's a story behind that. She got the role, and then she was so nervous.
Yes, and she came over your house.
She was so nervous because she thought that I would hear about it and hate her.
I heard that was true of all of the cast.
Yeah.
That John Cho wanted to meet with George Takei because he was afraid he wasn't going to be liked.
Yeah.
And of course they did match Zachary up with Nimoy, and they're actually golfing buddies now. Every one of the new cast members was so terrified to fill your shoes.
And this girl
nobody
was...
cared if Bill Shatner was upset.
This girl was so terrified that she told him finally she wasn't going to do it. You know, that she so loved the person who did it, which meant Nichelle Nichols, that she wasn't going to do it because that's her favorite and blah, blah, blah. And they got back to me, and I said,
that's a distinct honor.
Can I get her phone number or have her call me? And she said, I'm not calling her. I'm not calling her. And so I said, I arranged for her to meet her, you know. And then at the last minute, I couldn't come, but would she call me and come to my house? And she was as nervous. Is she kidding?
I got a lot of questions.
Oh, okay. And she came to my house, and we became the best of friends.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Next up.
We'll segue over to Heroes now that it's in re-release on Sci-Fi.
What is?
Heroes, the TV show Heroes?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they had a lot of the Star Trek characters, Takei, yourself. Did they have like
Takei.
Takei, sorry. He keeps correcting me every day on that. Did they ever have like story time for the next generation? Like they bring you and George
When you're on the set of a newer show like Heroes, do the younger actors all go, oh, please tell me what it was like to be on Star Trek?
I'm not understanding.
You were on this TV show Heroes?
On which one?
Heroes?
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
You must be the grande dame of that cast the day you're on the set.
It was wonderful.
All the other younger actors flock around.
Yes.
I imagine every cameraman and mic cable guy.
Yes.
It's like a mini
It was
version
wonderful.
of this, right?
It was wonderful
So what
being
was it
in
like
position.
being on Heroes, working with those people? Do you have a story from there? Do you remember anybody was really nice? Or?
The thing was that it was awkward for me because I didn't know or understand why anybody was nervous about me.
You haven't figured out yet that you're the Nichelle Nichols? You haven't figured out yet you're the Nichelle Nichols?
I'm just my parents' daughter. I come from a family, let's see, 8 kids. You get in, sit in, fit in best you can.
You're just one of the 8.
And just one of the 8. And they all have different talents. One's a fantastic painter. One of his paintings was in the...
When you were little, were you Mom's favorite?
Dad's.
You were Dad's
Yeah.
favorite.
Because I always waited for Daddy to come home, and I'd have this. He told me I was wonderful, and I believed him.
Yeah.
because he
was
never
right.
lied to me. And so I was always putting together a little act, you know, like 3 songs, and maybe I put something
So
together.
Daddy was your first real audience.
Oh yes, he was my first big fan.
Okay, and then where did you take it from there? Did you study? Did you do high school
Oh yeah.
theater? Did you?
Oh yes, I did
college?
every show. I'd play a grizzly old man if they let me. Theater is my heart. It was my first heart.
Next up.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, it's a real pleasure to see you. I have a
Thank
picture of
you.
you when I was a little kid in the 70s, and I hope to get another one with you today. I heard Whoopi Goldberg say once that she wouldn't even ever have gone into acting if it weren't for your portrayal of Uhura when she was a little girl.
Yes.
Has she ever talked to you about that? Or?
Yes. And by the time I had met her, somebody had told her that I didn't like her doing, you know, and it was a total made-up story. In other words, I didn't even know the person who told her that, like they knew me, you know, like I had told them. And when I finally met her, she was very, very nervous about meeting me, and she had built up this, she's now a star, you know, in her own right, and she'd built up this almost anger, you know, resentment now, and because she loved Lieutenant Uhura. And then she's told that I resented her doing it or something. And so but this was something she couldn't get out of, and I couldn't either, because I didn't know why somebody was telling me she didn't like me, you know. And we finally met like this. How do you do? And finally, because I'm a little older than she, I said, I cannot stand you. You do Lieutenant Uhura so much better than I do. I cannot. And she looked at me and said, I thought you hated me for doing that. And I said, I've been such a big fan of yours for so long. And then they tell me you're doing Uhura. Yeah, I hate you. I can never do Uhura again. You know, and we just became great friends. She's just cracked up.
Guinan kind of was the Uhura of that cast.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
she
they realized late they needed to bring a woman of color in to balance it out. With the
And she
original
just
series.
sat right down and laughed her heart out. And she said, I can't believe this. Do you know all the stories that run around telling me that how you resented me doing it? I actually I took it out of the act for a while. And I said, oh my God, no. No, they're right. I hate you. You do it so well. Ladies and gentlemen, live long and prosper. Thank you so much. Come on, we'll talk at my line.